Hello everyone, my name is Roya and these are the books I got at Yallwest. So I am filming this the day that I got back at Yallwest after not sleeping for over 24 hours and so I'm wearing this hat to cover up how just terrible my hair looks right now. But I'm not going to have a chance to film this later, so I just have to do it right now. But basically, I ended up getting 13 books, which is absolutely insane because I got them all but one I acquired before noon on Saturday because I spent the whole latter half of the day just in panels. And I thought, because last year I only got 10 books, and I thought I was going to get like 5 this year, but I wound up with 13. So I'm just gonna tell you guys about each of them and how I acquired each of them. So the first arc that I got is one that I still can't believe I have in my hands right now. It is Not the Girls You're Looking For by Amina May Safi, and she was actually signing arcs of this at Fierce Friday, which is insane. And because I've been following her on Instagram for a while, and this has been my most anticipated release of the latter half of the year for a good while now, and I just couldn't believe that she was really going to be there signing this, and so I was equally excited to meet her and to finally read this book. Then the next arc that I got is Sweet Black Waves by Christina Perez, and this is one that my friends and I, who had been talking to each other before Yallwest started, we all had our eye on this arc, and we knew that it was dropping at Fierce Friday, but we didn't know where or when because the author wasn't signing it or anything, so like she wasn't there. So we were thinking like, they're dropping an arc at Fierce Friday, like where would we find it? And so when I sat down to play book trivia, after getting my books signed and everything, I looked over at the books that were on the table of prizes, and they had a whole stack of these. And so I got out my phone, texted my friends, hey, I found them. We have to play trivia and win one. So yeah, so that's how a bunch of us each won Sweet Black Waves. And this is actually a fantasy book. It does not look like it on the cover. It looks like some kind of, I don't know, historical fiction or something, but it's not. It's a fantasy, and so it sounds right up my alley. It's about like a princess and a handmaiden and some magical stuff. Then I played trivia again with my friends, and then the next time I won the Forbidden Orchid. But yeah, this is one of 2 books that I have here to show you that is not an arc. It is just a finished copy, and I don't know what this is about, but it definitely looked the best out of all of the books that they had left because it was the last round, and it also was not like the 4th one in a series like some of the other ones were. The actual day of Yallwest, the first thing I did was go to the Riveted booth because it was right there, and they still didn't have an arc drop schedule announced at all. They were just surprising us every time, so it's kind of funny. So they literally just had a pick a lollipop and win an arc thing, so I picked a lollipop and I won an arc, and I think the arc was called The Stars We See or something like that, I don't remember, but I traded it later to my friend Michelle for Give Me Some Truth by Eric Gansworth. And this is a book that I've had my eye on, but I've been kind of hesitant to read just because of my whole aversion to wanting to read about bands thing. But I think I'm finally overcoming that, and so when Michelle was like, I'll trade you for this one, I guess, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is a book that I hear is really good. So there was that. The next arc that I got is Sadie by Courtney Summers, and the way that I got this was by taking a picture of my friend Cassandra from the channel The Bookish Crypt in a hoodie with the hashtag Find Sadie on it. Some people were given those hoodies way in advance and whatnot, and we're doing that so that if we took a picture of them and posted it, we could get an arc of Sadie. So that was the first thing I did after I did the Pick a Lollipop and win an arc thing. And along with Sadie, because they were having exclusive books and we didn't really know what they were, so I got In Paris With You, and I guess this is a book of poetry. Next, I stopped by the Owl Crate booth, and, you know, normally you win a pin or a bookmark or a candle, or last year I won I spun the wheel and I won a chapstick that I still have that is still really awesome, but I did not expect this time to win a book, and that book is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, and that's kind of perfect because I have not read this one, but I did read Simon, so hooray. Next, I went to the novel booth, and they were having a roll the dice and win an arc thing. So I was really excited because 3 of the arcs out of the 4 were ones that sounded really good to me, and 2 of them were pretty much tied for my first choice. I was really excited about both of them. It was Rule by Ellen Goodlett and Grace and Fury by Tracy Banghart. So I was very, very excited to get this arc, and I'm really excited to read it. Next arc drop I went to was one that I had not heard of before, Yallwest, but we knew when the arc drop, was announced, obviously, to look it up, and it sounded really, really good. And it is Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis. And oddly enough, Beth Revis is the author of the Across the Universe trilogy, which is completely different from this, so it'll be really interesting to see something that's totally completely not even remotely similar to what I know of from her, from what I've read from her before. It's about a necromancer or an alchemist or whatever she is, and it just sounds awesome. The next one I got is one that I just found on a table, and there was no line or anything. They had a whole stack of these, and there wasn't a line, so I think it might have been the Riveted booth. I don't remember, because it obviously wasn't an arc drop that was announced or anything, and that is The Year of Living Awkwardly. And this is actually the second in a series I found out later, but looking it up, it sounds really kind of cool. It sounds like Youth in Revolt, only not. So if you are not familiar with Youth in Revolt, I will just leave the link to a video that I talked about it in, but basically what I mean by that is that it is told in witty journal entries from a teenager who has all kinds of like really weird stuff go on with her. So yeah, it just sounds really interesting, and my library actually does have the first one, so who knows, I might get to this sometime soon. And then the next arc that I got was, oddly enough, also a contemporary. Like, I'm not a huge contemporary person, but I got a lot of contemporaries that sound really interesting. So that is Always Never Yours by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. And they are actually an engaged couple who've been together since like high school, and they co-wrote this. And I just find it so fascinating. Cassandra and I actually interviewed them. Cassandra is a fan of hers, and so we interviewed them, and I asked them about their co-author process, and they said that actually they sit together in the same room and just write it together. Like, they don't exchange chapters, they don't write different parts, nothing like that. They just like both sit there and they both write it. And I just thought that was so interesting. Like, I'm always interested in, because co-authoring can become so many completely different things. And also, apparently she was self-published first, and her self-published stuff was fantasy, and so it's really interesting. It's always interesting to me to see like a self-published author end up being traditionally published like later. So then I went to go and get bubble tea, and because it was the only chance I'd have to get like any food at all. So I was in line for bubble tea, and it was still like 45 minutes before the next arc drop that I wanted to go to was going to be. And it was for 4 different arcs. So they had like 4 different female fantasy things. They had West, they had Forest Queen, they had Isle of Blood and Stone, and they had Empress of All Seasons. And basically my friends started texting me, because we all had our eye on that arc drop, of course. I guess we're all, like, most of us are fantasy lovers in that group, so pretty much they kept texting me saying, oh my goodness, the line is already crazy long. And it was still really early. Like, people don't normally start lining up until like 15 minutes before, but this was like half an hour before, and I was still getting bubble tea. So I was like, oh, am I gonna miss it? Well, I guess, I mean, it's not the end of the world if I miss it, but I was really hoping to get Empress of All Seasons. So once I got the bubble tea, I like ran to the back of the line. I didn't even really run. I just kind of was thinking, if it's crazy long, I'm not gonna get one. But I got to the back of the line. I was thinking they're going to run out, especially of Empress of All Seasons. Like, I think a lot of people are going to want that one. But we get up there, and it's the one they did not run out of, and it was the one I wanted. So anyway, this sounds really good. It's about a girl who is a yokai, and if you're not familiar with Japanese stuff, a yokai is essentially a demon-ish thing, and yokai cannot be the ruler of the kingdom, but she is competing to be the ruler, so she has to keep the secret that she is a yokai, and it sounds so interesting. Last but definitely not least, it's the only arc that I got after noon, so I went to like 4 panels in a row. Like all I did after noon was panels, and in between 2 panels I stopped by the Penguin booth because I had actually asked them beforehand if they were going to be dropping this arc, and they actually were, as part of a like, oh, it's part of this that we're not saying what arcs it is, that it's a giveaway. So it was just like some really vague thing, like a book travel giveaway, and so I guess it's like books set in different countries basically, and so I was like, oh, that sounds cool. But yeah, they hadn't named the arcs that they were dropping, so I wouldn't have known if I hadn't asked. And this is one of my absolutely most anticipated releases of the year. I've known about this book since before it even had a cover or anything, like months before. So at the appointed time, actually an hour after the appointed time, because the appointed time was 2 to 5, which is pretty vague, so I totally thought they would run out, but because I was in a panel. So I show up at 3, and they still have tons, and the line is super short, because they hadn't said what arcs were in that giveaway. And that book is Darius the Great Is Not Okay by Adib Khorram. And I am so excited to read this. I can't believe I have this book in my hand right now. So this is about a boy who is Persian American, and he's never been to Iran, and then he goes to Iran on a trip. And I have heard so many incredible things about this book, and of course I'm so excited to be promoting another Iranian book. These are the books that I got at Yallwest. It's a ginormous stack. It's pretty legit here. So if you've read any of these, let me know what you thought, and definitely, especially not the girls you're looking for, because I am already like halfway through it. Let me know if you went to Yallwest, what your favorite thing you did was. I will also be posting a vlog of it soon, which is way better than my vlog from last year because it doesn't cut directly from yoga to the airport. Also, let me know if you were not at Yallwest, if you have not read any of these books, you can totally just let me know what your most anticipated book release is of the latter half of the year, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!